Hi everyone! So today I thought I would go through all of the books that I have ever rated 5 stars. So these books are all perfect, amazing, no notes. I would recommend all of them to a wide range of people. And I think these videos are so fun to make every few years because my taste changes, and obviously every few years I add more books to this list. And when I rate a book 5 stars, it's hard to explain what makes a 5-star book. I think if you're a reader, you understand it's a feeling. It's just that 5-star feeling and it's indescribable. I think it means that a book moved you. But anyways, let's get into my favorite books of all time. I'm going to start off with Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin. This book is under 200 pages and I finished it in a day because it's so good. So this book is about a man named David who is an expat living in Paris, and he's engaged but his fiance is traveling in Spain, and he goes to a restaurant and meets a man named Giovanni, and they form a relationship and fall in love. And it's just such a descriptive and accurate depiction of grappling with your sexuality in the 1950s. He's a really frustrating character because it's set in like the 1950s, so he has a lot of guilt that comes with being gay, and he's blaming Giovanni for being gay, and he's just really struggling. But the descriptions of Paris are so beautiful. It made me feel like I was in Paris because I knew what the author was talking about when he was describing certain places. And the writing is so amazing. Obviously, it's James Baldwin, but he really knows how to write romance. Like, the writing was so romantic and gorgeous, and the last sentence was just so moving. So we have another James Baldwin book that is called Go Tell It on the Mountain. This is about a 14-year-old named John who is living in Harlem in the 1930s. And this book is a coming-of-age story about John growing up, coming to terms with his sexuality, and struggling with it because of his religion. It's about racial oppression, family dysfunction, and the pressure to grow up and become a preacher. But would highly recommend. It's obviously amazing writing because it's James Baldwin and it's a really important story. Then The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This one is super popular. This is about a group of students who are in this really prestigious classics program at a university, and one of the boys in the friend group is murdered. And it's kind of just about all of them spiraling from the murder and how they all deal with it or don't deal with it. The characters are extremely unlikable, so I really enjoyed how that was written. And you could tell the author did so much research to be able to describe what they were studying. It was very impressive. I remember reading it and being like, how many years did this take to write? Like, it must have taken a decade. It's just the most beautiful writing, and it's such an entertaining story, and it's so fun to dissect all of the different characters and how they're dealing with it. It's a great read for the fall or the winter because of the winter and fall setting on a campus. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna is a beautiful story about two sisters during World War II who take very different paths during the war. One of them takes a safer path and one of them takes a more daring path, but that's all I'm gonna say because you should go into this book not knowing anything. It's long, but it's amazing. I've made all of my friends read it. All of them love it. They have all cried reading it. It's very sad, but it's such an important story and it definitely will move you. Then Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I read this when I was turning 25 and it hit so close to home. This is Dolly Alderton's memoir about living in London in her 20s, dating, what happens when your friends start getting married and you're still single. I genuinely think that every woman in her 20s should read this because something in here will speak to you. And at the end of the day, it just really is about the importance of female friendship. But it's also really funny and just has funny anecdotes and recipes, and it's just a really fun book with a bunch of different aspects in it, but it's also very touching and moving. Then Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. I just read this year and I immediately gave it 5 stars. It moved me so much. It's about this girl named Lucy who grows up in this rural small town in Ireland called Crossmore. So her family is very Catholic, and then she develops feelings for her friend Susanna, and they start a relationship, but they both have to hide their relationship because no one will approve of it because of their religion. It just was written so well. Like, it really felt like you were listening to the thoughts of a girl that age, like 17 to 20. And it's really devastating how she views herself and her relationship because of her religion. The descriptions were so detailed between places, habits that people were doing, very mundane things that really made you feel like you were there. And it's so romantic. Like, there are letters in here that are just gorgeous, and I can't wait to read the author's newest book. I need to pick that up soon because this is definitely a new favorite author of mine. Then Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is about a relationship between two people, Marion and Connell, in high school and then in college. But it's about so much more than that. It's about class, family dynamics, adjusting to college. And it just hit me really hard when I was reading this. I think I could relate to it a lot. And the show is also very, very good. Then A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is a very traumatic book. So look up the trigger warnings, and if you can't handle any of that, don't read it because it's very graphic and intense. But this is about a group of 4 friends, mainly the main character Jude, and it spans pretty much his whole life, and it's about abuse in the Catholic Church, the cycle of abuse, how being abused affects your current relationships. And it's so dense, but everything in here is really important. Even if it goes off on tangents, the tangents are very important to the story. Every word is in here for a reason. Because it's so long, you feel so connected to the characters. They genuinely feel like real people. And it's just the most gorgeous writing ever. This is definitely my top 3 books, if not my favorite book of all time. Then Homegoing by Ya Jessie. This is a historical fiction book about 2 sisters who are born in Ghana. One of them marries a slave trader and the other one is sold into slavery and trafficked to America. And every chapter is a little vignette of the next person in their lineage. It has a family tree in the beginning, so it starts with the 2 sisters and then every chapter is the next person down in their lineage. So the book really is about how the slave trade has impacted every single generation of Black people up until today, and the different adversities that Black people have faced in every single generation from the slave trade until today. It's really educational, but I also couldn't put it down because I wanted to know what happened. It was so moving. It's so important. The writing is really, really gorgeous. She did so much research writing this. It was so impressive. I learned so much. I think everyone should read this, honestly. Then Educated by Tara Westover. So this is an extremely inspiring and impressive memoir about the importance of education. So Tara grew up in an abusive household with absolutely no education. I'm pretty sure she had never seen a doctor, and it's a story about her basically creating her own life and her journey to receiving formal education. It's just amazing. It's so inspiring. It's a story about resilience. I also think everyone should read this. Then Mary Jane by Jessica Anya Blau. So this is about a 14-year-old girl who comes from this conservative, uptight household, and she starts nannying for this other family during the summer. And the other family is much more progressive and exposes her to a bunch of different things. So it's a really heartwarming coming of age story. But I just loved it. I can't even describe why I liked it so much. It just was like perfect and I had no notes. I just really enjoyed the coming of age of the main character and seeing her exposed to different things and forming her own opinions that weren't the same opinions as how she was raised. I think it's a great, like, quick summer read. Then The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I loved this book so much. So this is about a journalist named Monique who is interviewing Evelyn at the end of her life. So Evelyn is going throughout her whole life describing her journey becoming famous, what it was like being famous, the 7 men who she was married to, and the actual love of her life. It was so sad, so moving. It touched on so many different topics like LGBTQ visibility, being biracial, being a woman in Hollywood, domestic abuse. So many quotes that I loved, just so entertaining and important. Okay, and the last one is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. This one is also very popular. So this follows 2 friends, Sam and Sadie, over a span of 30 years. I think they meet for the first time in high school, and then it follows them throughout college and after college, and they start a very successful video game company together. And I would like kind of compare it to Normal People where there's no plot, so I can't really describe a plot to you guys, but the dynamics of their relationship is just so heartwarming to read about, but it's also really sad and moving. The characters are amazing and feel so real, and the writing is just incredible. I thought it was so interesting to learn about the creation of video games, especially in that time period, which I think is like the 80s and the 90s. and it's becoming a movie, and I think Daisy Edgar Jones is gonna play Sadie, and she is gonna be the perfect Sadie. Like, Sadie reminded me of Marianne so much, and I just can't think of anyone better for it. But that is it. Those are all of the books that I have given 5 stars. Obviously the whole Hunger Games and Harry Potter series too, but like I wasn't gonna put that in here. If you got this far, please comment your 5-star books because I'm always looking for new book recommendations. And if you like these recommendations or have the same taste as me, you should subscribe to get more book recommendations from me. Like this video if you liked it, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!